almost the end of the end. The fat lady hasn't sung yet, but I think she's warming up and about ready to go on the stage. Okay, here it is, the final turn. 2000 was run. And the French pulled it off, but it was a lot closer in terms of details than it might have been. Let's take a look. There, of course, nothing going on now around Stone. See how much I can zoom. You'll see the Germans are taking that small town south of Stone with the Aufklärung troops. The French were hampered by not being able to do SFAs because most of their units were without orders except the heavy weapons of the 16 BCP, and that was critical. They were on defense. They had an implemented op sheet, but the Germans duked it out here, and as you can see they've lost virtually all their heavy tanks. So if this weren't the end, they'd probably be swept aside by the French tanks, but they did liberate that south and provided a base of fire with their machine gun guys for the recon troops of the Aufklärung to advance to Stone. And that blank hex there in Stone was actually taken by a German unit in assault. I don't know how he got there. A lot of lucky die rolls without getting knocked out. And then, of course, the French were paralyzed and lost the hex, but because the 16 BCP troops had a defensive op sheet, they were able to SFA in their second phase of the last turn. And with the crossfire and about 17 strength with mortars, they got rid of the single step of Germans that had made it to that hex. So if it was very close, the Germans might have actually gotten a unit in Stone for the draw. As it is, the Aufklärung troops have been critical because they're blocking the roads here, and that's the one thing that stopped the French from getting a massive victory. In fact, technically it's a French minor victory, but because the Germans got so many more reinforcements, it's a French major victory. Could have easily been massive if it weren't for the Aufklärung troops here, and if the French had protected this flank here, which they did not do. Up in the north here, you can see that the Germans pushed right up to the edge of Stone, and they knocked out a lot of French in the way. The AT guns that were positioned out here blew away about 6 French tanks. Infantry rolled right up, but just too little too late. And in Stone itself, because it's protected, you can't really do direct fire into it. There are a lot of guys, and with the tanks especially, the Germans just couldn't handle them, could not get into Stone. Tried, didn't make it. But it was quite a push. You can see they got very close. See how Stone is ringed around now, and if it got another hour, I think the French still would have had it, but the Germans gave it their best, softening it up with a lot of artillery before using smoke to cover their advance. Every trick in the book. Didn't make it, though. Here you see the final results of this melee. The French curled up in a ball. Germans run out of steam. Nobody with attack op sheets left really to fight. Though, again, the French were taking a lot of losses the last couple turns. So overall, it was quite something, and it even finished in rather exciting fashion for me, at least. And it was possible the Germans could have gotten the draw by getting somebody in Stone. I didn't think so, but they rolled so well, and the French rolled so poorly. A number of overwatches, rolling 12s, 16s, 21s. But just, even taken from a step further back, the Germans really got beat this game. A lot of losses, even though they had superiority, especially considering the French inflexibility. So I think the French have every reason to be proud, especially the French commander who drew up those plans. I'll be shipping this tape out to you all soon, and hope you enjoy it. I hope it comes out. And the summary will, of course, be on the web. So, enough of the 16 months. The game is over. The final view one more time. It's been real.